Today's Get Ready With Me is on this look, and I had this eye look or a very similar eye look on in a few videos over the past 2 weeks or a month, I'm not sure. I pulled my Sweet Peach palette back out recently. I've been using it a lot over the past couple of months. I didn't even realize this Just Peachy Mattes palette was coming out. I just rediscovered this again. And I've been asked repeatedly in the comments to please do a tutorial on how I got that eye look. So I tried to recreate it as best as I could today. It's kind of hard to remember sometimes, but I am recreating it using the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette, but I'm also giving you options in the Too Faced Just Peachy Mattes palette so that you can use the same technique, but use the shades in here to get a similar look. So I'm hoping that you'll find that helpful. If you haven't seen my review on the entire Too Faced Peaches and Cream collection, I have that linked. I'm gonna be using the Peach Perfect foundation and powder as well as the Peach Blur finishing powder in this video. I'm gonna be speaking to the powders more in my September favorites. I'm just gonna give you an update then whether they're favorites or not, because I haven't had enough time to play around with them without the foundation to see how they do on their own. So I'll use them here, but I'm gonna actually review them at the end of the month. So if you are not subscribed to my channel and if you're not getting notifications about when I upload, you may wanna do that. So that way you'll know when that's coming. If you haven't seen my review of the new Peach Perfect foundation, I have just recently done that too, so you can catch that. Side note, I was just sent this brush set from Doe Color or Doe Colors, I'm not quite sure how to say it. I'm not sponsored or anything like that. They just asked if I would try it out, and I am. I have links to it below. This brush set without the holder is like $15 for the whole set. So I wanted to review it for you guys to let you know what I thought, because I just think Artis brushes are so pricey and I haven't tried them myself. I have tried the crown version of this particular brush and I've really been enjoying it. So I thought if I could try a whole set that was in the teens, then I'm gonna do it. The holder, which I think is wonderful, I think it's like $10. I have that linked below too. And I really enjoyed using this, not only for storage, but I used it to dry the brushes. It came in really handy rather than having them laid out all over my counter. So I do use a few of these in the video and try them out, and I'll keep using them and trying them, but I can tell you that this was as nice as my crown brush and it's really soft, and I use this for powder. So you'll see how the ones that I did use in the video worked for me, but if you get even one brush for in the teens, that's a really great price, much less this many. That's just my opinion on it, but I will link those below for you so you can at least check them out and possibly get a really good deal for some brushes. I think that's it. We can get started. I hope you enjoy the video and I hope that it's not an hour long. So I'm using my Mineral Veil primer. This is my favorite primer. I just love it. I have used NYX Angel Veil in the past and I like it. I think it comes pretty close, but it can make my skin kind of dry if I use it too many days in a row. So I just use this and I just spread it all out. I like it because it's a lotion consistency and it just sinks in. It doesn't sit on the skin, it goes into the skin. And I just did a pea-sized amount. I probably should have showed you guys that, but you know, I'm just getting ready. I kind of forget. While that sinks in, I'm going to apply my Milani eyeshadow primer. I love this stuff and it's super cheap. I'm going to apply just this much to both lids. So I'm also going to use the Peach Perfect setting powder today. I zoomed in a little bit more because I just felt like I was a little far away, but I know you guys still like to see Luke. Where is he? Luke back there. So I tried to keep him in frame for you. Because I am using the new-ish Peach Perfect setting powder, I am going to go ahead and dust that on my lids now. So I immediately set my eye primer while my face primer is sinking in, so that it gives that some time and I'm still doing something productive. I set my shadow primer so that it doesn't crease and so that my shadows go on more smoothly. So it's just something to think about if you've been applying shadow primer and your shadows are still wearing away or maybe not applying very smoothly. Maybe try setting them, give it a try. I'm gonna use the new Peach Perfect foundation in shade Light Beige. I do shake it up. I don't think it says to shake it up, but I do. I'm actually gonna apply this really quickly, but I'm gonna use this brush, which I did not do in the review. So I'm just gonna zoom through this. It's pretty smooth, it's not streaky. I liked it. I don't find that it was quicker than using a sponge. So if you like these types of brushes, this one was actually pretty good. I would say it's pretty similar to the Crown one that I received in my BoxyCharm. I went with just a medium coverage today. I really didn't want a medium full coverage today. I'm good with that. I have been staying up way too late and I feel like I get a little bit extra crinkly under my eyes when I do that. I am taking just a drop of jojoba oil and putting it underneath my eyes. And actually it's probably more like just a half a drop. It's just like, I don't even know if you can see that it's on my fingers. But sometimes it just helps with the dryness that sometimes happens if I am a little extra tired. I don't know if any of you guys ever do that, but I don't know if I've ever actually said that I do that. I just recently did a setting powder for under eyes video and there was some oil conversation going on and I was reminded that I do that sometimes. So I wanted to talk about that with you guys. I'm using the NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer to conceal the spots on my face. I do not like this under my eyes, but I like it on my face because it really just disappears. And on my under eye area, if you guys have watched my videos, you know I love my Erase Paste by Benefit. I use shade 2 and I still have so much of this left. I have not had to buy the Boing version of this concealer, which is, I think is it Airbrush? No, it's the brightening. I haven't had to buy it yet. I just have a ton of this left and I feel like I've been using it for a year at least. If you have hooded or downturned eyes, one thing to be sure and not to forget to do is to conceal this outer corner right here because it can really make your eye look kind of sad and droopy if you don't lift that with a little bit of concealer corrector. A lot of us have a little bit of redness right there and just hitting it with concealer corrector can really make a difference. A lot of people really concern themselves with this inner corner and forget about that little tiny area right outside, right underneath the outer corner. Since I'm using a lot of Too Faced in this video, I'm gonna use the Too Faced Born This Way concealer, which I do really, really like. And I have the shade Light. I think the next shade down was just a little bit too dark for my under eye area and didn't brighten enough. I'm gonna attempt to use this tiny little oval toothbrush type brush. I have never used one of these under the eyes and I usually use a damp beauty blender. We're gonna see how this goes. It may fail miserably. If it does, I will just use a beauty blender. It may be dry because I don't have a damp one by me. I don't think this is gonna work for me for underneath the eyes. I feel like it just kind of, I don't know, distributes the product and smears it, but it doesn't really pat it in the way I need it to be patted in. And it may just be being a little bit older. Maybe when you're younger, smearing it everywhere works. I don't know. My beauty blender is dry. Sometimes I use a dry beauty blender. You know, in a pinch it works. And that's what I'm doing today. Okay, so thank you to the kind viewer who showed me that I could simply do this and then this. It still does make a little bit of a mess, but it's better than what I was trying to do with it. You can see in my collection review what I was trying to do with it, but I don't know, it's better this way. I'm just doing what I normally do with a beauty blender, which is tap it in my face until the powder starts to disappear. I think I got too much powder, but it's working and it feels soft. And it is working the powder into my face nicely. Okay, I like using this actually. I wonder if I could use that for the under eye. I don't know. I don't know how I would have gotten it into the crevices actually. That probably wouldn't have worked. Okay, so I'm also going to do what I normally do. I wonder how much powder's still in here. Not that much. It's pretty impressive. Okay, so I could have used less powder. And as usual, dust away the excess with my brush. I'm not really contouring today. I'm just going to use bronzer, and this was my go-to bronzer forever. It's the Chocolate Soleil in medium deep. It's not too deep if you have my skin tone, which is not super fair, but it's not deep either. And I'm just taking a big fluffy brush, and I'm gonna go along the same areas that I would contour, but more along the back. I just want a softer look today. And I'm gonna pinch it, take it slightly down my nose, just a little bit with a very light hand. I should have put my hair back today, but you know, this is a real get ready with me, and I always have my hair down or wet, because usually I have it down because I don't want to have a clip mark, and I just hold it with my hands. But I have this palette in my hands for the get ready with me instead of my mirror because it reflects really badly. We just have to make do. Nothing too dramatic, just a little bit of something. Lately, I've been using this in a lot of my videos. It's the new Makeup Forever Artist palette. I'm not sure the official name, but it'll be linked in my video below. I didn't use this today. I use this to contour a lot, but I'm gonna use the highlighter and the blush because this blush looks great with this whole look, and that is what I had on when I bulk filmed. So it's actually several videos, but it's just really, really subtle. Somebody asked me in my comments if this highlighter was subtle enough for work, and I'm not even sure if you're gonna be able to see it in this video. That's why I'm putting it on and putting it on. It's perfect if you like a really subtle highlight and don't like a super glow. Now I customized this. They have ones that are more apparent, and that's just not what works for me and my skin these days. But it's nice to have something. This is just a nice peachy blush with some sheen. There's like finely milled stuff that kicks up, but no powder that kicks up. I mean, I'm telling you, this is a great product to get. And I don't even have to tap the brush off before I apply these, and they don't leave a big segment of blush on my cheeks where you laid your brush down. It's so good. And actually with this blush, I don't even need a highlight because of the subtle sheen. Love it. Have any of you gotten this? And if so, what did you put in yours? What colors? And do you like them? Because I actually would like to have some colors to trade out. You know, for other colors, it'd be nice to have variety since you can customize this palette. I don't know what that looks like on camera, but in person, it looks good. I did my brows off camera because that's super boring to watch. And I'm gonna go ahead and state that all my brushes look like they're filthy, but they're really not. I clean them between each use with my color switch, which is linked down below. It comes in super handy between uses of shadow. You can use one color shadow, wipe it off, and use a completely different color shadow, even a lighter shadow, and it's like nothing was ever on your brush. But my brushes look stained. I think I've only used them twice. They just look stained, but there's no pigment on the brush anymore, so it doesn't affect what I'm putting on my lid. So I just wanted to give you that disclaimer. So I'm gonna recreate this look as best as I can. And I do tap my brush off after I put pigment on it so it doesn't get all underneath my eye, especially since I just did my foundation. The first shade I'm using is Peaches and Cream. I'm gonna put this all over my lid just to combat any discoloration or veins or anything. If I was using the Just Peachy, I would use Peach Meringue. No, Peach Butter is what it's called, the one in the middle right here. So that's what I'm going to do first on both lids. And you could have actually set your shadow primer with this. I just didn't today. I just used a loose powder. I just didn't think about it. I love using Georgia as a transition shade. That's what I'm using today. If you're using Just Peachy, Peaches and Cream is what I would use for a transition shade. I use Georgia a lot. It doesn't look like much in the pan, but it just adds just a hint of color above the crease to give you a little bit of a lift. Oh, my hand just spazzed out there for a second. And you definitely want to use a transition shade if you have hooded eyes, because it helps create a shadow where that hood is normally protruding, and it'll help lift the eye. And you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and take that same shade and run it underneath my lower lash line. Why not just go ahead and do that? No need to save it till the end if I know I'm gonna do that anyway. And I usually do that with my transition shade because it helps open up the eyes and make them look a little bit bigger. For the crease, I'm using Candied Peach, which is right here. If you're using just Peachy, you'd use just Peachy. They're pretty darn close actually in color. And I'm really just keeping it localized to the crease and bringing it kind of down in this outer V. And I keep it kind of horizontal to the top part of my mobile lid, if that makes sense. Kind of a straight across shot here, because that also gives me a lift. But I just want that color to show so that when I put my outer V shade in, that's what shows. And it gives a little bit of dimension as opposed to just putting in a transition shade. You could totally do just a transition shade and no crease color here. I just didn't do that the other day. And that's what y'all wanted to see. I'm actually gonna blend this with a blending brush really quickly. I'm not really worried about what that looks like on the lid at all, because we're gonna cover that up. And I used a purple shade Delectable the other day. If you're using just Peachy, I would use Just Ripe here. It's gonna be more of a plum look, which is great for fall. You can use either one for fall, actually. So I take kind of a pointed brush and I am just putting it in that outer V, kind of drawing it on. I'm not worried about blending. I'm gonna blend in a second. I'm just kind of drawing it. So actually I said this was the outer V, but this is really more of the outer third of the lid that I'm doing rather than a V shape. Kind of remember doing that the other day. I started out with an outer V and then I turned it into the outer third. I just took my blending brush in the color switch and cleaned it off, and now I am blending it, but I'm not blending it thoroughly because I don't want to take that purple shade up in the crease. I just want to smudge the edges lightly so that they're not so harsh. And if they are harsh, I'm going to fix them in a second. It's not the end of the world. And actually, I want to bring that in a little bit more. Now I'm taking a clean pencil brush into Peach Pit, which doesn't look deeper, but it is when you combine the two. If I was using just Peachy, I would do that in Chocolate Dipped, which is this one. My pinky was there, it was confusing. And I'm gonna deepen the very corner of what we just did. So there, I just drew a little V on. And I'm just gonna kind of lightly blend those two together. You may not have to do much because they really kind of blend in with each other. I just wanted to darken that a little bit. I can't recall if I used just Luscious or if I used Luscious and Bellini on the lid. I think I just used Luscious, but we shall see as I go to apply these. And I'm just taking a flat, dense brush and I'm just gonna kind of press Luscious on and then blend this into the Delectable that we applied. I feel like I did use Bellini. Yeah. So I'm gonna put Luscious down on the 2/3 of the lid that we have not covered. And then I'm gonna take a tad bit of Bellini and just put it on the middle. I'm talking just a smidge. So this is the Bellini. There's something about just adding that little touch of Bellini that just makes a difference. If you feel like you covered too much of this with that Bellini, you can go back in with it. Now, if I was using just Peachy, I would probably just take Peaches and Cream and put that there since it's just a subtle peachy creamy color. I'm gonna go off camera and line with Talk Derby to Me, which looks like it's navy blue, but it's got these flecks of purple and it works out really well. That is what I had on in those videos. I'm gonna do my mascara too and I'll come back. And if you go to my Challenging Eye series, you can see how I line with shadow in many different ways, but that'll show you what I do to line. Before I go with mascara, I'm just taking a tiny bit of that Peach Pit, and I'm running it right along my lower lash line, just a tiny bit and just along the outer third, but I didn't want to not show that to you. I mean, you may not even be able to see it, but it just gives a tiny bit of depth there, and I think I did that in that video. And I'm also going to highlight with white peach, and if you were using just peachy, you would use peach meringue to get the same kind of effect. It's amazing what mascara and lipstick can do, isn't it? I know I've used the Too Faced Peach Blur before, but I just wanted to show you guys, since it's a get ready with me, and oftentimes when I get ready, I use a finishing powder. So let's use this today. It really is pretty, and it's not over the top. Can you see a difference in that? It's hard for me to put this on and look in the monitor at the same time. Actually, I think it's impossible. Definitely doesn't cake up or anything. The lip I used was the same as in the other videos. It's Tom Ford Pink Dusk. I love a good peachy pink lipstick. If you've been following me for some time, you know I have got options for you right here to give you somewhat the same look. So I'm gonna go from here, which is Pink Dusk Tom Ford, this way. This is Milani Nude Cream, and this is probably my all-time favorite peachy pink lipstick, and that is Too Faced Sugar Daddy. And I've got both of those right here. This is Milani Nude Cream if you want a less expensive option for a great peachy pink. This is Too Faced Sugar Daddy. I have worn this a lot, and I've talked about that on my channel a lot. And all of these have great textures too. So that's those two right there to give you some options for a very similar look. Right here is a liquid lipstick option that is ColourPop Likely. Right here. Right here is Urban Decay Naked. A lot of people have this. I have the old version, but they do have it in the new Vice formula. That's all I have left of this. I feel like I'm holding on to it for dear life. And the last one, all the way over here, I think it might be the deepest version on here, maybe not, is Bite Beauty Meringue. If you like this formula, it's also very, very close and one of my favorite lipsticks. So I kind of threw in a little lanyap in there, but I wanted to give you some options because this is the most expensive lipstick I own. I got it as a treat for myself. I don't normally spend that much on lipsticks, and a lot of you are probably the same way. But before that, this Too Faced was my favorite, and it has been since I got it probably a year ago. So I hope you enjoyed this Get Ready With Me. I hope that eye look was helpful and enjoyable. Thank you so much for watching. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. If you're not following me on social media, I'm very active on Snapchat, Instagram, and Twitter. I also just started a random Facebook page. If you want to follow me there, I have that in my description box too. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.